Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Ha, it's me, EJ. Um, if you're a new subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. And if you're an old subscriber, welcome back. Thank you so much for watching my videos, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really appreciate that. So today I want to talk about this is kind of personal. Yeah. I never knew growing up, I never knew that people perceived me as a tomboy. I know me, but me that looks like a teddy bear or something. But it was very different when I was growing up. The way my dad raised us, there was nothing like, your girl or your boy, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. You have to learn how to do everything by yourself, right? You, like growing up, I was servicing generator, like when the engine oil runs out or the plug is dirty. Yeah, I learned how to clean it. I knew how to start up our gen. I'm talking like the big kind of gen. I'm not talking about the I better pass my name, but the small type, the big one. And then beyond that, we also, what else did I do? I was carrying bags of cement because at the time some parts of our house was still under construction. So if my dad should order materials, obviously there's nobody to take it into the house, and if it's about to rain, I have no choice. So I would lift it and then put it in the store. What else did I do that was considered manly? Oh, okay. There was once when the electrician came to wire the tenant's part of where we live, and obviously my brothers, they're not around, so I'm the only one who is there. And then my dad tells the electrician that she will help you, just tell her what she needs to do. Guys, can you believe that this your girl is climbing ladder and entering the roof of the house like I'm climbing ceiling? At that time, even if I was still fat or like plus size, I was still kind of skinny-ish. So what else? There was just so many things I did when I was growing up that was just so not feminine. I realized that mixing up with other people as I grew older, there were some things that they didn't know how to do. Let's say, okay, you all live together as girls, right? And then for whatever reason the toilet gets clogged. My friends would not know what to do. I kid you not. Like, we need to call plumber. I'm like, what do you mean by we need to call a plumber? We just need to get a plunger. You get, if you don't try plunger, you don't try flushing, it no work. Then the last resort is to call this thing the plumber. It's not every small thing you just run outside to go and look for who will fix it. Anyway, so let's backtrack. When I was, I don't know, I think maybe 16, 17, there was a church group I was in, and every Sundays or Saturdays, sorry, we would attend meetings in church, and then we would help to clean the church in preparation for masses service on Sunday. We had like other duties, and then on one of such Saturdays, after we were done cleaning the church, so the night of the church, they were supposed to have a meeting in the church hall. So they asked us to help them carry the chair for their meeting, the chairs for their meeting to the hall, right? So I calculated it. I was already running late because at home we cook on Saturdays. Every Saturday we cook the soup that will last for the entire week, or at least Monday to Thursday, and then Friday we can just cook something small, and then Saturday again we cook, and then we put it in the freezer. So now me, I'm there calculating, so I have to go back and forth because I'd already made up my mind. I'm only taking 5 chairs, and after that I'm done. I'm not doing anything again. So instead of me to divide the chair and like take 3 or take 2 and then take 3, I just joined all 5 chairs together and then took it to the hall, and I kept it. So on my way back, there was this guy who I knew had a crush big time on me, and then he said something that like really hurt my feelings back then. He was like, that what am I trying to prove to the boys, that every time I'm always acting like I'm a boy, I can do everything by myself, I don't need help. And I'm like, I don't understand. What does that have to do with anything? He was like that I should look at all the other girls, because the other girls, I was like, no, I'm not carrying any chair, blah blah blah. So they were like only taking 1 chair and then going like while waiting for the guys to do it. I'm like, I don't understand. What does that have to do with anything? How does that translate into me being a boy? Because I chose to work smarter, and I know that I need to head home. He was like, no, that he has been noticing this for a while, that I'm always acting like I'm stronger than everybody, that I can do everything without help or whatever. I'm like, and how is that my fault if your ego has a problem? You get, obviously I don't want to go back and forth, and this is the only set of chairs I'm carrying, and I've kept it. So this drama that you are dramatizing now, what's that about? And then, he proceeds to tell me that, that no guy will like me. No guy will like me if I continue acting this way. That it doesn't matter if I know how to do certain things, or if I'm comfortable doing certain things. I shouldn't be showing myself outside. Those were the words that he used. I said, okay, thank you for the advice. I'm done. I'm leaving. Now the other girls could see that I was upset, so they were now asking me, babe, now what happened? What did he say? I'm like, go and ask him. I don't have time. So now the same person who was telling me that because of the way that I act, that no guy would be interested in having anything to do with me, is the same person who sometime in the future started having feelings for me. Anyway, I digress. So I realized, the older I get anyway, I realized that some men, especially men who are not secure, who have basically nothing to offer, they get off on being able to do physical things for you, or giving you money to solve whatever problem you have. And when you take that out of the equation, you realize that they don't have anything. When I say that, I have standards, and then people will be like, oh, your standards should not be too high. We're not talking monetary standards, how you communicate with me, how you treat me, how much of a priority I am in your life. Those are important. Every relationship that I have been in that for whatever reason have ended, there's no ex that hasn't come back, even the ones that are just trying to be manipulative and bring drama. Because ultimately, when I'm with somebody, or when I'm in a relationship, because I give you 100% of myself. So when I'm done, you see like a totally different version of me that you never knew, that you never knew existed. And you'll be like, how come this, girl is the same as the one who I did, like, so this person was hiding underneath all of the niceness. I can be nice to a fault, and sometimes people take that for granted, especially when, even in friendships, I notice that if you're the person who is reliable, right? Because they know that people will always disappoint them, but when they come to you, they know that you have their back 100%. I'm telling you, just social experiment, guys. Social experiment. If you are the reliable friend, no matter how much you feel guilty when you cannot come true for people, I'm telling you, make this test. Just try to disappoint everybody who is counting on you once. Then you know the role you place in their life, where they've placed you. You get how important the friendship is. You will know if the friendship is transactional. That's when you know where you fall, because most people, if they are so used to getting yes and yes and yes and yes from you all the time, or if you don't say yes, you'll be like later, just say no. Just no once, and then you see how their reaction turns out to be. Men, yeah, I know I digress. Most times my videos always like have a mind of their own, but men, yeah, you should be happy, and you should, I know that there's certain women who do think that we get off on acting like we know how to do everything by ourselves, so we don't need you. We don't need you, but we want you in our lives. And if you prove that you're trustworthy, you're reliable, you can be counted on, she wouldn't need to have to do all those things for herself, because she can trust you to come true for her. The sooner you guys understand that, the sooner you have a lot of peace. Just because you're dating or you're in a relationship with someone who is independent, it doesn't mean that we don't like being spoiled. It doesn't mean that if I tell you, oh, I don't like expensive things, it's a waste of money, that if you buy it for me, I won't appreciate it. Don't get it twisted. Oh, I'm a girl, I like fine things. Just because I'll tell you, oh, instead of us to go out, why don't you give me the money? Let me cook it so we don't waste so much money. It doesn't mean that if you go out of your way to do all of that and then you surprise me, that I would not appreciate it. You know the difference. Which is why these days, yeah, a lot of girls operate with the mentality of good girl, no they pay, because there's a majority of men have like this very bad vibe and they give men a bad reputation. So even when you meet a good man, you just be like, ah no, that one is fronting in the play, na lie, na scope. Or if we meet a man who is masculine, but at the same time he can relate with a woman when she's like so emotional, he doesn't discard her feelings. They'll be like, ah, you two they do. Because I dated somebody like that who was always throwing my emotions in my face. Be like, you're always in your feelings. So when I stopped being in my feelings, and then he's like, you changed. I'm like, what do you mean by change? He said, I don't like you like this. I'm like, this is the monster you made, so deal with it. It's that simple. So anyway, men who are the OG, like, the real men who understand that despite being masculine, you're still, even if you don't understand your woman's emotions, you shouldn't just push it to the side like it's not important. Because men and women, we operate differently. One, emotional. One, logical. But it doesn't mean that, yeah, I know that emotions are not logical, but it doesn't mean that an emotional being can also not be logical. Those men are what other men call as simps. You're simping. Why? Because they feel like those men are doing those things so that girls will pick them. But that's not the case. So we like a man who is masculine, but at the same time we like a man who can, just put that whole hard exterior aside when he's with us. I know this video started off as, when I realized that I was a tomboy when I was younger. But there's some things that kind of like scar you emotionally. I grew up around boys, if that makes sense. The age gap between me and my elder sisters it was a lot. So they were in school most of the time. So I spent a lot of times with my cousins. I spent with my younger brothers. So obviously, if you want to hang out with the boys, you have to a certain extent, act like them. Yeah, I wasn't dressing like a boy, but my mannerisms and how I carry myself, that's why up to today it's really easy for me to make connections and friendship with guys, even if sometimes some of them will want to start catching feelings, and then you now have to keep a distance from them. Yeah, but ultimately, stop saying certain things to certain people because you hurt their feelings and you hurt their emotions. Back then, make I no lie, when that guy said that stuff to me, it really hurt me. And I started like questioning myself. I started kind of like questioning how my parents raised me. But I was like, somebody who is a womanizer, that even his mom complains that that's what he does, thinks that he has the right or the moral standing or whatever to come and tell me how I should live my life. Just because you've been able to get into other girls' panties doesn't mean that you can do the same to me. And if you trying to get in my panties did not work, you just feel like the best thing to do is to break down my confidence so that I will be an easier prey for you to use and dump. But anyway, eventually me and the dude, we ended up just becoming good friends ish. I was really close to his mom and his dad. His dad was a very strict person, so he was always hearing about me because his mom was mentioning me. The guy's siblings also, they were always talking about me in the house. So he's like, who is this person, who is this person? So the first day I went to the house, and then he's all for me, hash guy. He was asking me so many questions. Me, I was answering it. I mean, I was firing questions back to back. So when the man now saw that me, I wasn't scared of him, right? His perception of me totally changed. I'm telling you, this man, he is a doctor, so imagine how busy his schedule is. So sometimes I can be walking on the road and his driver will come pick him up for work. It doesn't matter if it's 5 a.m. in the morning or whatever. He will ask the driver to stop, and then he will say hi to me before he will pass by. If he sees me in church, he makes sure that before I go home, he says hi to me before I leave. That's how much the dad came to like me and how much of a family member I was. I was always going to go and spend time with his mom as well, because she had a poultry. She also planted vegetables, so I used to just keep her company. We'll have conversations. Just that I like hanging out with old people, and I know that may come off as weird, but there's just so much wisdom that you learn when you associate with people who are older than you. Sometimes because they are older, people just don't pay so much attention to them, right? But if you take the time to just, I'm not talking like weird sexual friendship, you respect them, you have meaningful conversations with them, there's a lot to learn. And I feel having a personal relationship with the guy's mom really helped me a lot, and it kind of like gave me this confidence that there's nothing that was wrong with me, because the so-called things that the troublemaker was kind of making it seem like it was a flaw in me are things that his mom appreciated. And she was like that sometimes she wishes that her kids were like me, they acted like me, they spent as much time as I did with her. So that's validation, if anything. So I was just able to brush off those words. Today's video, as per usual, has been, me rambling to myself, and we've made it to 20 minutes. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching my video. And it just got darker, so the lighting is not making sense right now. If you watched till the end, I really, 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 really appreciate it. Like my videos, subscribe, comment, share. I love you guys so much. And as usual, it's a girl, EJ, and this is Breakaway with EJ. Before I leave though, I just want to say, kind of, as much as we want to tell people the truth, there's so many ways to say the truth and pass it across without coming off as a bitch. That's the easiest way to put it. So mind your words. If you want to correct people, or if you want to help them, if you feel that they're doing something, there's something called constructive criticism. You don't have to be negative. You don't have to come from a place of hate. You can say what you want to say to people without trying to hurt their feelings or make them feel like they're lesser than themselves. So that's all for today's video. Once again, it's EJ. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys on the next video.